Welcome to week 12 of the Book of Mormon. Now we are going to be going over some really remarkable stories in the Book of Mormon as we go through Alma 8 through Alma 16. First off, as we start in Alma chapter 8, we are going to be going over Alma's teaching to the city of Ammonihah, the fact that as missionaries, many who have gone out as missionaries, we know how difficult it is sometimes when you go to an area and no one listens. And this is exactly what happened to Alma in Alma chapter 8. And as he left, feeling as though he'd been totally rejected, an angel appears to Alma and tells him to go back. Now, what I really learned from this story, first off, is Alma's obedience. Alma didn't question the angel and basically say, look, it doesn't make sense. No one's listening to me. Why are you wanting me to do this? Why are you wanting me to go back? But he turns and shows absolute faith as he goes back into the city. And it's there that the Lord prepared another individual to help him by the name of Amulek. Now, in the case of Amulek, from what we can tell, Amulek really wasn't an active member of the church. In fact, as we look at, and I'm turning to the scriptures right now, a way that Amulek described himself. He said, I did harden myself. This is in Alma chapter 10, verse 6. I did harden my heart, for I was called many times, and I would not hear. Therefore I knew concerning these things, yet I would not know. And that's the case, I think, of so many people we know, that they grew up in the church, they had ample opportunities to hear and understand the gospel, yet they really didn't know. They didn't believe, and as a result, the Spirit never bore witness to them in a way in which they felt that they had a testimony. In the case of Amulek, this was the case. And so, but yet the Lord knew Amulek's heart, much like he knew Alma the younger, or the four sons of Mosiah. And so he was given an opportunity to work with Alma and to preach into the people. It became powerful because now there were two witnesses, which is really the way the Lord works. That out of the mouth of two or three witnesses shall every word be established. And Alma and Amulek started to preach into the people. And as they did so, they were met with resistance. In fact, there were certain lawyers that were critical. One by the name of Zizram. And rather than Alma and Amulek standing back and giving up, they testified boldly and were able to convert Zizram. Now, one of the things that jumps out to me in these chapters is just how much faith they had, how bold they were to go back into an area that had completely rejected them. And yet it was them that had the faith to go back even to this hardened people, and as a result convert many because of their faith. Now, Alma chapter 11 brings up something that I think is rather unique, and I wanted to bring up this whenever there are, in my opinion, very interesting evidences of the Book of Mormon. I'd like to point them out. In Alma chapter 11, we read about the Nephi currency. And it's rather odd that Mormon would spend time describing to us how the currency worked. That there would be one very small piece of currency, the next up would be double the value, the next currency or the next coin would be double the value of that, with the highest currency being the sum of all of the currencies, under all of the coins underneath. Therefore, their currency was called a 1-2-4-7 in terms of how the ranking of the coins were. And so if you look at this, it seems kind of odd that Mormon would spend time doing this. I think that Mormon did it because of inspiration, perhaps not even he knowing why he included it. The reason why I say this is because the 1247 currency that the Nephites have, we have subsequently learned in the last 100 years, is the same currency, type of currency that the Egyptians had, and was noted by non-LDS scholars as the most popular or efficient currency in ancient times. And so for the Nephite currency to have this is certainly something that Joseph Smith would not have understood or even be able to guess at as he included this in Alma chapter 11. Now Alma chapter 11 is a great chapter on the restoration. And on when we say the restoration, what I mean by that is the resurrection and how the Lord restores our bodies and our physique to what was here on earth. And it's restored to our perfect frame. And not only are we restored to our perfect frame when we're resurrected, but we have a bright recollection, as it says in Alma chapter 11, a bright recollection of all of our guilt. We are able to remember everything about this life. And unless we go through the steps of repentance, all of the things that we do that are unclean or unvirtuous will be restored to our mind, and they will be part of the judgment that we will be judged by. Hence the importance of repentance and of becoming clean and of partaking of the sacrament and certainly taking of the atonement in our lives. And so Alma preaches to Zeezrom these chapters. He also goes into Alma chapter 13, a great chapter about the priesthood. We learn from here that we are foreordained before we came to this earth, that there were certain things, certain promises, certain blessings that were given to us. And each of us, if we go to our patriarchal blessings, we understand what Alma is referring to when he talks about that the priesthood is something that was foreordained to those who were to receive it. And so this is a tremendous chapter to me. Now, as we move on to Alma 14 and 15, we read perhaps one of the most remarkable stories where Alma, and if you can imagine as a missionary, the love that you have for the people that you baptized, and to be able to watch how wicked people would take those who you baptized and basically destroy them and to kill them and put them into a big pit, as well as all of the scriptures that they had. And Alma and Amulek watching this, and Amulek crying out and basically saying, why is the Lord allowing this? Can't we stretch forth our hand and stop this? And it's interesting, Alma's response and what we learn from this, that the wicked are allowed to do wicked things, so their judgment will be just. If the Lord intervened and didn't allow any wickedness, he would completely circumvent the plan. And therefore, those who were wicked would not be able to be judged in the way and the manner in which they would and should be judged. And so the Lord allowed this, and those who were righteous were sent home back to his presence, which in the end is not a tragedy, because really the only true tragedy is sin. And so as we read in these chapters, we feel the pain of Alma and Amulek, and it looked as though that they were going to be destroyed, but that they weren't. And in Alma 15 and 16, we continue to see their preaching. These are tremendous stories with a lot of application, and I hope that as you read them, that you gain a greater understanding of how the Lord works and the faith that it takes and the blessings that he provides us when we are indeed faithful. So I hope that you have a wonderful week as you read these, and if you have any questions, please let me know. I will look forward, as always, to being involved in your discussion board posts and corresponding with you on the things that you learned. Have a great week.